the 300th anniversary of the founding of St. Petersburg by Peter I. We are looking at Alexander's Column, which is erected to commemorate Russia's military glory. It was made from a single piece of granite and weighs 600 tons. It is the center of the beautiful Palace Square, with the Hermitage or Winter Palace on the left.
Baroque style by Rossini.
This is probably my only chance to be in the movie. On the right of the Palace Square is the General Staff Building, or the military headquarters, with its Chariot of Victory. Now we'll go inside the Hermitage. Along with the great works of art are the art and architecture of the former residence of the Russian monarchs. Now we are in the Knights Hall, which is a collection of Western European arms and armor of the 15th to 17th century. An interesting gallery containing the history of ancient painting.
Portrait gallery of the generals of helped defeat Napoleon. 1812, Alexander and his generals.
Now we enter St. George's Hall, or the large throne room. This was created by Catherine II in the late 18th century and done in the classical style.
Symbol of Russia. Two-headed eagle. Parquet floors. Many different types of wood. This is the smaller throne room.
The painting is Alexander I with the goddess Diana.
Carriage of Alexander I.
This carriage was used for coronations that traditionally took place in the Assumption Cathedral of the Kremlin in Moscow.
Among the beautiful tapestries. Just like painting. Peacock clock.
The clock was designed in the second half of the 18th century in England by James Cox. This sleigh was actually functional. The Hermitage has certainly earned the right to be regarded as one of the major repositories of the world's cultural artifacts. Masha now takes us on a tour.
What?
Yes, one there.
What is this lighthouse?
This is the Rastralny columns. The part of the boat's rostrum is the nose of the boat. Yes.
Yes.
You see, at the beginning of the base of the
Yes.
column. Yes, and it gives the name to the column, Rastralny column. And we had
Peter and Paul.
Peter and Paul Cathedral. Yes.
Over there?
Yes. And with the new angel at the top of the eagle.
The new?
It's a new,
New
typical military, not military, fortification.
fort.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
My poor English.
No, fortifications.
Yes.
It's a long word.
And this is the island.
Peter and Paul.
Have to
This is where Peter first began construction in 1703. This stone church was erected in the early 18th century to replace the wooden one. The cathedral became a burial vault of the Russian emperors.
We are walking around the Peter and Paul Fortress. Behind her is the Mint. Here's the former Soviet Union.
Now we'll go inside the cathedral.
Yep, I see the flash.
I cannot see. Since me trying to take a picture with my camera.
The altar. Church of St. Peter and Paul. I wonder if that's gold leaf.
I would assume so.
Being restored.
Masha is Georgian, living in St. Petersburg. She is a good friend of my interpreter, Nana.
Because when he was the Tsar,
Alexander the First.
The remains of Nicholas II and his family were moved here in 1998.
it was the time when we have the
Get the Church of Peter and Paul in the back.
Masha pointing out things to Barbara across the Neva River.
not columns but pilasters. Yes, it's a marble house, a palace, and
Sunbathers on a very rocky beach. Another example of the locals taking advantage of their small window of sunlight so close to the Arctic Circle.
Это самая высокая архитектурная точка Петербурга. Ангел-флюгер указывает направление ветра. Своим крылом он словно оберегает город.
They got enough chimneys? Bride and groom.
Wedding celebrations along the Neva River abound during the warm summer days in St. Petersburg. The White Nights and the celebration of the 300th anniversary of the city also add to the allure.
I guess the thing is to leave your flowers there. Let's bring good luck.
Like a sponsor of art,
Patron. Yeah.
of art, of all arts, because he was a close friend of Ekaterina II, and he was a
Yes.
collector of art, and he was a very progressive leader.
And this is now the Academy of Arts.
And it's a new.
Under Pushkin's statue. And the Russian State Museum. Whoops. State Museum.
Who that is?
On the Nevsky Prospect, the main street, we see the Cathedral of the Icon.
Only birds. Birds, yeah, that's nice.
Having a cocktail on the Neva
It is very
with a view of the Admiralty building.
to go to sleep with the open.
Oh, look who's here. Barbara,
Yes, look here.
don't look at that. Look at me.
One of the main entries to the Admiralty building.
So it was built in the middle of the 18th century. This was the entrance for the ships to be repaired. For the sailors. And this is Peter's summer house. Not big, but comfortable. This is an English court covered art. Late 18th century.
at a little store.
Yeah.
Very warm place. But then using it from the store, I think.
Downstairs. To the dining room.
This is more of a kitchen. So it's just a stove upstairs. And there are two.
It's probably to keep things warm. The beauty of that is the need of it.
Actually, it's the Fontanka channel. Actually, the bed would not fit a 6.5-foot person, except that in those days they slept with sitting up.
Slave. It's Peter's military coat. Peter was 6'8". This is another one of his lathes. This mirror, Alexander the First helped to create.
I mean Peter the First.
Man of many talents. Participated in the carving.
Peter the First Summer Garden.
Alexander's park here.
No, Peter the First.
89 of originally 250 statues in this park.
Flower pots and kids with hats.
Where's my flower? Oh, there she is. Okay. That's all right. St. Isaac's.
Russian stone carvers were famous throughout the world. Inside St. Isaac's was no exception, especially the 2 columns of lapis lazuli, which appear to be aflame from within. This is the 4th largest dome in the world.
Well, what is the route? Here, I gave her some at the same time. And hers are lavender and bluish kind.
That's St. Isaac's.
Yeah, I know where to go in St. Isaac's.
The bronze statue again. Peter the Great. Senate Square. Peter the First, Catherine the Second. She did it for him.
The Soviet Union was just filled with statues and monuments. The Anichkov Bridge is no exception, with 4 statues reflecting man's taming of the horse, often called Klotz horses.
And the Griffins. Okay. Down the canal, I'm not sure which one this is.
Actually, we are looking down the Gribdadova Canal with the Cathedral of Kazan on the left and Church of the Spilled Blood in the background.
Church.
This beautiful church actually has 2 names. The Church of the Resurrection of Christ in honor of that historic event, and also the Church of the Spilled Blood in honor of Alexander II, who was assassinated in 1881 on the exact spot where the church was built. The church was consecrated in 1907. Inside the church, the walls, floors, and ceiling are covered with mosaics, almost 7,000 square meters. Once again, we believed it was impossible to reproduce such magnificence.
Yeah, that's it. You can wave. Scratch your ear, do whatever. Colors are just phenomenal.
The church is filled with mosaics, inside and out. We begin our boat ride on the Fontanka Canal. On the Moika Canal, we see the statue of Tsar Nicholas I in St. Isaac's Square, and there is St. Isaac's.
Глубокая застройка городская – это не тема нашего маршрута. У нас с вами реки, каналы, набережные и решетки. Но что-то, что мы старые названия, мы с вами прошли зиму.
Oh my goodness, it's pizza.
Единственную в мире композицию. От одной каменной толстой мощной опоры мы вошли с вами в руку-мойку. Не ищите, не ищите, не ищите, не ищите.
The large glass building in the background is the Botanical Garden. The Russian government has spent billions of dollars restoring St. Petersburg, and it is certainly evident. The old palaces along the canals in downtown St. Petersburg have all been given a facelift. Now we are walking along the Fontanka Canal, enjoying this evening. And here is a cafe and bar, or BAP, if you don't know Russian. Looking at the Lomonosov Bridge. Actually, Lomonosov was a famous scholar and poet in the 18th century. The bridge was 19th century construction. Mostly of granite. It was a drawbridge that's no longer in use today.
Something else over there.
I wonder what it was. A dome in the Alexander Nevsky Orthodox Monastery complex. Construction began in 1710 under Peter the Great. Many Russian luminaries are buried here.
The bell tower. The restoration.
The beautiful St. Nicholas Cathedral of the
All the
Epiphany,
domes,
or the Sailors'
the
Cathedral,
golden domes.
named such because St. Nicholas was the patron saint of sailors.
Well, that's one, but Barbara's always got her head turned the wrong way. The bell tower. The sun's rays.
Peterhof is located about 30 kilometers west of St. Petersburg. Construction began around 1714.
Petersburg. This is the first temple palace. Just beautifully restored. Yeah.
This is overlooking the beautiful fountains and gardens of Peterhof.
Out to the Bay of Finland.
This unique array of fountains is considered to be one of the most beautiful in the world.
Went out the fish's mouth, huh?
Actually, this is Rastrelli's famous sculpture of Samson tearing the lion's mouth.
There were many copies.
There she goes. Barbara.
Tsarskoye Selo is located in the town of Pushkin, about 25 kilometers south of St. Petersburg.
The grand entry.
This palace was the summer residence of Catherine I, wife and successor to Peter the Great. Thus the name Catherine Palace.
Love those shoes.
I forgot, are we protecting floors or doing heart transplants? The upper landing is reached via the state staircase.
Looking out the gardens.
The Great Hall, or ballroom, is a true masterpiece of the decorative genius of Rastrelli. This is one of the largest palatial halls, covering some 846 square meters.
So it's got to be 12,000 square feet or something. Just wanted to get in there.
Like the palace at Versailles.
Yeah. It's the only way I can get in the movie.
The predominant decorative element of the interior is gilded carving. Countless figures and half-figures, ornamental interlaces, and cartouches produce an indelible impression. It also helps to have a pretty face.
Okay. Sweet.
First they took the flat vase, they fried it for the first time, then they put porcelain flowers in it and fried for the second time. And then some details, birds and leaves of the trees, and fried it for the third. So this technique was very complicated. Out of 100, only 9 were successful. A huge amount of work. And they were very expensive because of this. Because
Catherine I's military dress. In 1717, Frederick William of Prussia presented numerous inlaid amber panels to Peter the Great for the decoration of Peter's study. In 1755, Rastrelli designed the amber room in the Catherine Palace. The room was plundered, unfortunately, by Nazi soldiers during the Second World War. The amber decorations of the study, however, have nowadays been almost completely restored.
aquí yo me pongo ahí y le decimos a la señora que se corra un poquito.
Pero tú te ves la mitad, ¿eh?
Sí, sí.
The walls of this room contain over 130 paintings by eminent Western European artists of the 17th and 18th centuries. The green dining room, although not intended, certainly does resemble Wedgwood.
Okay, come on.
The fronts of Catherine's palace extend nearly 740 meters and dominate the entire complex.
It's nice with the background in it.
Se ve todo el suelo.
White with someone else.
a petunia bush.
And me.
Only little petunias.